So I'm sure some of my viewers tuned into Train World's Thomas Tuesday this week, and if that is the case, then I'm sure you probably saw that we got our first look at a painted sample of Bachmann Rebecca. Now, since the model was revealed, I've had quite a few people wanting to know my thoughts on how Rebecca looks, and if there's any positives and or negatives I have to say about the model. Well, with all that said, I figured I'd make a designated video about it, and maybe get a discussion going on what others think about Rebecca as well. Now, right off the bat, I want to say that while I do feel Rebecca herself is a good character with a wonderful personality, the reception of her from the fandom has caused quite a lot of controversy since she was first introduced. I don't want to go into a lot of detail on this matter as I don't want to stray too far off from the main topic of this video, but I will say this. Rebecca is a character who has a lot of potential and could have easily been a fan favorite among many, but the fact that she was brought into the series for reasons such as gender imbalance and is a character that along with Nia, Mattel literally shoved down our throats, that I feel has caused her to be an unlikable character among the fandom. Again, while I do feel Rebecca is a good character with potential, the reasons behind her introduction into the series and the way Mattel went about it was just wrong on so many levels. When I first saw that Rebecca was part of the 2022 NMRA announcements, I have to say that I wasn't really all that enthusiastic about it, simply because I know she wasn't a character a lot of people had been asking for. Characters like Stepney and or Stanley were the most requested at the time, and from an economic standpoint, it would have been cheaper as well. Rebecca being a tender engine obviously would be more expensive than something such as a tank engine, and price is something that I will touch on a little later in this video. I also want to say that I was surprised to see Bo of all characters get announced, and if anything, that announcement was even more surprising than Rebecca. When the Bachmann 2023 catalog came out in February, we saw just how much Rebecca's model would be. I'm sure many, myself included, experienced some serious sticker shock when we saw the model had an RRP of $299, making Rebecca the most expensive model in the line. She was $94 more than Spencer, who, might I add, had previously held the most expensive title, and was a model which came out clear back in 2006. Granted, I will say that modern ready-to-run prices in general have gotten completely out of control over the years, and ignoring all the licensing and what have you that Bachmann has to pay to Mattel, Rebecca is no exception to these crazy prices. Getting onto the painted sample, when I first saw this, I was honestly impressed. When looking at how the model had been finished, I think it's a clear sign that Bachmann was really trying to go all out and make the model reflect the $300 price tag. One thing that did have me concerned about the unpainted sample was the face, but looking at it now, I can honestly say those worries are gone. Originally, I was very critical about the style of face that they went with, thinking it was that terrible stupid smile Rebecca has in her promo images. However, seeing it now, I honestly think it looks great. Still, not the face I would have gone for, but one I can say that doesn't detract from the look of the model. I'm honestly surprised what a little bit of paint can do. I also want to mention that I'm really impressed with the livery and just how vivid the paintwork looks. It was said that originally Bachmann wasn't happy with the yellow on the first sample of Rebecca they got in, so the color was revised, and I can honestly say the livery application on the model looks great. That's probably one of the biggest things I like with Rebecca is just how colorful her livery is. Other details such as the ladders on the tender, the lamps on her front, the bullied wheels, the valve gear, and the brake rigging are all very well done. However, the model is not without its faults, and one thing in particular has been nagging me about this to no end. When looking at the front buffer beam, it's too short and should have been about twice the height that it is. When I saw this issue with the unpainted sample, I had hoped it was something that would be corrected in the final product, but after seeing it on this model, I can only guess this is the finished look and is what we'll receive once the model starts shipping to retailers. I don't know why the decision was made to make the buffer beam look this way, but for me, this has to be the biggest issue and personally a letdown as the rest of the model just looks so good. Another smaller and less distracting issue I have is the cab. While it does feature glazing and is open, there's really nothing inside in terms of detail, but I'm not too upset about this as there's many other models in the line that have open cabs with no details either. On the plus side, Rebecca's open cab at least offers the option to fit a crew if you want to. So with all things considered, what are my thoughts on the Bachmann Rebecca? Personally, I myself think it's a good looking model and there's definitely a lot of positive things I can say about it. The front buffer beam is really the only major issue I have with the model, and minus that one problem, I'd say everything else is damn near perfect, but I still call the price into question. While for the most part I think Rebecca's model turned out great, I can't say that is reflected in the RRP. I think I put it best when I say, the model is nice, but it's not $300 nice. You could actually buy a Hornby Merchant Navy with DCC for $273, and you're getting far more in terms of detail and mechanism with that model, even though it's over 20 years old. I will say that Train World's price of $184.99 for Rebecca seems more reasonable, but that's still a lot for this. However, Train World does have some of the lowest prices on the internet, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to find Rebecca at a better price elsewhere. I'm also aware that sometimes prices will go up once a model becomes available, so it's best to pre-order now to make sure you're locked into that $184.99 price. Rebecca is expected to start shipping by December if everything goes as planned. Lastly, I have had a few people ask if I myself have plans to get Rebecca, and I'll just say it's not in the cards at this time. While she does have an eye-catching livery that would definitely draw attention and stand out at an operating session or show, again, I don't feel the model matches up with the price, and there's other models I'm far more interested in right now. So that wraps up my thoughts on the Bachmann Rebecca. What are your thoughts on the model? Do you like how Rebecca looks? Are there things you dislike about the model? Are you looking into purchasing Rebecca, or will you be taking a pass on this one? If you want to continue this discussion, then be sure to comment down below and let me know what you think about it.